Great. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Can you guys please confirm am I audible or not? Please write in the chat yes or no. Okay. Audible. So great. So, guys, in the yesterday section, we have discussed the setup part, right? And we have discussed like the basic stuff, like what is React.js, what is component, and we saw the flow of React.js, right? So today the agenda of today's session is all about the component. Okay, we will be creating some components and we will be seeing like what is props and we will see the practical implementation of props also, right? So let me share my screen. 1 minute, guys. Present. Right, sir. Present. Share screen. Yeah, this one. And we are saying here like we will discuss this project, right? The end goal is what? We have to create this expense tracker. And if you will see, 1 minute. Okay. Yeah. So here we have what? We have in this expense tracker. 1 minute. Let me open the open board also. So till that time, guys, what is component? Anyone? What is component? Okay, great. So basically, yesterday we discussed here React is what? React is a JavaScript library, right? For building user interface, right? And these user interface we can build with the help of components, right? Components here. And here if you will see this part also, we have a component here. Let me show you this one here, right? So this is what? This is my component, right? I have one component and I am reusing this component again and again, here also, here also, here also. And the structure of the component is same, right? We have the date part, we have the title part, and we have the amount part, right, everyone? And what we are doing, just we are changing the content here of the date, of the title, and of the amount in each component, right, everyone? But the structure, the CSS property is same here, right? So let's discuss this part, how we can do this part. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah, this one, right? So yesterday what we have done, we have done till this part, right? We have this app dot js file and we are saying here this app.js file is what? Inside app.js file we are creating a component with the name app, and the component is nothing but a simple JavaScript function that is returning some HTML thing, right? That is returning some HTML thing. That HTML code is what? That is our JSX code. And behind the scene, this JSX code will get converted to a code that is understandable by the browser, and that part will be done by the Node.js. That's why we are installing Node.js in the previous session, right? We are installing Node.js first to run this npx npm start and npx this command, okay? And the second thing is what? It will convert our this JSX code to a code that is understandable by the browser, right? So here we have this app component, and in this app component what we are doing, we are returning some HTML code and we are saying here export default app. We are exporting this app component, and in index.js file we are using this app component. And how I can use the how I can use the component? First I have to import the app component, Okay, so here I have written import app, and after that I'm saying ki, hey, this app component is present inside app file at the same level, right? So inside app.js we have this app component, right? So let me increase the font size also here. You can see this part, right? And after importing the app component from this app.js file, what I am doing, I am using this app component here. And how I can use it is similar to the HTML element, right? We can write a HTML element. The difference between the HTML element and the custom component is what? The HTML element will start with small case letter. If you will see the div, the h1 element, all are starting with the small case letter. But when you are using a component, when you are using a component like this, you have to write the first letter as capital letter. Till this part everyone is clear, right? So now what we have to do, let's create a component, right? So what we can do, we can create a component in a single JavaScript file also, or we can create a file per component. Okay, so it is a better practice to create a new file for a new component that hold a specific task. Okay, that hold a specific work. So what I will do, in the source folder I will create a folder. Let's write the name of the folder as component here. Okay, and inside this folder, what I will do, I will create a component. That is, first what I have to do, here if you will see this part, first I have to create this, like I can create a lot of things. Either I can start with the form. First I am doing what, I am creating this expense item. Okay, first my focus is to create a expense item. So what I will do, I will create a component for expense item. So here, new file. In the new file, the name of the component is, like, the name of the file is expense item dot js. Okay, and I will create one more file, that is to include the css also, right? So what I will do, okay, new file, and I will write expense item dot css here. Okay, and here what we have to do, we have to create our component is what, simple JavaScript function. So what I can do, I can use function keyword, and after that the name of the component is what, expense item here, and this round bracket. Okay, inside this we have to return something, right? That something will be what, JSX code. Okay, so here we have div. Inside this div, what I will do, I will write inside expense. Okay, let's take this content inside h1. Okay, h1, and inside expense item, right? Like this. So what I have done, I have a JavaScript function. In that JavaScript function, I'm returning some HTML code. Okay, and if you will see this part, the code that I'm returning, what I'm doing, I'm saying, hey, I have a div, and inside that I have a h1, and inside that I have inside expense item. So if I have to use this component anywhere else, what I have to do, first I have to export this component. In order to export this component, what I will do, I will use the keyword export default, and after that the name of the component. Here the name of the component is what, expense item. So here part from the app.js, and use expense item component inside app.js file. What you will do, you will first import this import this component, right? In order to import the component, you have to use import, and after that you have the component name, and you can see expense item component is present inside a component folder, and inside the component folder we have expense item.js file is expense item component. And now if I have to use this component, what I can do, I can write like this, right? Expense item. I have to use the component also, right everyone? Okay. Tony, like, we will discuss about the default one, and like if we are not using default keyword, what will happen? Okay, please be patient, sir. related to the attendance, related to the certificate, related to the assignment. After this, at the end, we will discuss about that part. Okay. And lagging, sir, lagging here, just like the internet connection is good. So, okay. Hmm. Here. Now you do here. Uh, okay. Huh. I think there is some issue in the internet, but now it is clear, right? Please zoom the editor screen, right? Right, like this, right? So let's save the code here, okay? And after that, what I have to do? I have saved the code, and let's see what output I am getting on the output screen, right? That is on the browser. So here you can see I am getting inside expense item. Still lagging, it is still lagging. Okay, give me 2 minutes, guys. Okay, give me 2 minutes. Let me see the internet connection. Okay. Entire screen, and now. So here, let me share my screen, right? No lagging, right? Let me know if it is again. There is some internet issue from my side, okay, but I think it will not lag now, right? So if you will see the website here, you can see we are getting inside, we are getting this output on the output screen. Why? Because what will happen, the moment you will run the code, it will render this index.html file. Inside this index.html file, what we have this div. And what we are doing here, inside the index.js file, we are using this div. Okay, we are saying ki, hey, please give me the element that is having this id, that is root. Okay, so this, inside this div, what we are doing, we are saying ki, hey, whatever code is inside the app component, include that code inside the app component, right? Include that code inside the app component. And inside the app component, if I will go inside the app component, you can see we are having this div, and inside this div we are having this expense item, right? And inside the expense item, what we have h1, and inside this we are printing inside expense item on the output screen, right? So if I will go here, and if I will console log, if I will open this console log screen here in the element, if you will see, if I will hover this part, okay, here you can see, here you can see what we have, guys. We have div id root. Okay, we have this div id root, and after that we have this div class app. Inside this div class app, we have one more div, and inside that we are printing inside expense. All this DOM tree that is getting created, this is getting created by the React itself. Okay, React is managing what to add in the DOM tree, what to remove from the DOM, taken care by the React. What I have to do, I have to create a component, and inside that component I have that component in some other component, and I'm done with the part. Okay, the addition subtraction part is taken care by the React itself, right? How to create a simple component and how to include this component in some other component, like this, right? So now my task is what? I am having three things inside this card. I have the date, I have the item, and I have the amount, right, everyone? So what I will do, inside the JSX code, inside this part, inside the expense item component, what I will do, I will include the date, that is div, and here I will do what? I will use the date here. Okay, I have to write the date here, And after that, what I have the title. So I have one more div, the title. Okay. And after that, I have the amount also, right? I have the amount also. So in order to include the amount like this, right? Having this part in the, okay. So what I will do here, I will write here my h1, okay, and here h1, and inside this what I have to write the date. Then you can say ki hey, the date is what, anything you can do, 12 March 2022 2020, right? And this also I will include inside the p tag. Okay, let's include this inside the p tag, and this one, right? And let's save the code here. Let's see what output I am getting here. So here you can see I am getting the day and date here, right? And the date I am getting and the title I am getting. And in order to get the amount, what I can do, I can write dollar, okay, dollar 20.35, right? So the moment I will save the code here, you can see what I'm getting. I am getting the day also, the date also, I'm getting the title also, and I'm getting the amount also, right, everyone? But here, if you will see what I'm doing, I'm passing the data. I'm passing the data. Okay, value, right? Here the data are fixed value. We are not passing the dynamic data here, right? We are not passing the dynamic data here. So let's create a variable. Okay, so we are saying here component is what, guys? Component is all about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So we are writing the HTML code, but where is the JavaScript code? So in order to write the JavaScript code here, you are saying hey const, and the day is what it is, this one. Let's save this day here, okay, that is this one. And after that you have the title, okay, the title is what you're saying TV here, okay, and you have the amount, right? The amount is what, the amount is dollar 20.35, okay. And now what you have done, you are saying hey, I will not pass the data statically, okay. What I will do, I will pass the variable here, okay. I will pass day here, title here, and the amount variable here, that is holding the information, right? And in order to do that part, what you have to do, in order to use JSX expression, in order to use JavaScript expression inside JSX, you have to use curly bracket, right? You have to use curly bracket. Inside this curly bracket, you can use any JavaScript expression. So if I will write 1 plus 1 here, let's see what output I will get. So here you can see I am getting 2 on the output screen if I am writing 1 plus 1, right? So similarly, if I have to use this day variable, what I will do, I will write day here, right? And similarly, if I have to use the title one, again the curly bracket, inside the curly bracket, what I will do, I will write title here, right? And similarly for the amount, right? So in order to use the amount, what I will do, in the curly bracket I will use the variable amount that is holding the amount data, right? So now what we are doing, we are able to configure our JSX code by passing data in a variable format, right? That is dynamic format. Okay, here it is not possible for me to take the data from the database and again hit some API, get the data, store the data in some variable, and after that pass the data in this JSX. Okay, so what I am doing here is like I am creating 3 variables and there I am storing the data, and this is a way to pass the data, right? So after doing this part, let's see what output I am getting here. So we are getting the correct output, right? So what I need, if you will see this part, we have a beautiful CSS applied to this content, right? We have this beautiful CSS applied to this content. What I will do, I have already written the CSS code here. Okay, so we are not focusing on the CSS part. So what I will do, I will copy the CSS code, and here in the expense item.css file, I will paste this CSS code here, right? And in order to use this CSS code in our component, what I will do, first I will import the CSS file, right? In order to import the CSS file, you have to use import keyword, and after that in single quotes use dot slash. Okay, and here you are having what, you are having expense item dot css, right? So this is a way to include the CSS file inside your component, right? After using this part, what you have to do, so when you are using HTML and CSS, then in order to use CSS, what you are doing, either you can use class or you can use ID, and on that class or on that ID you can give the CSS for that particular element. So here also, in order to apply CSS to this div, what I will do guys, here in place of class I have class name, right? I have class name, and here what I will do, I will write the name of the class. So here I have already written the CSS code, so here I will apply this expense item. So here the class name is what, expense item, right? Similarly, we have what, we have expense item description. So here for the title, I have already written the CSS code, that is expense item description here, right? And similarly, I have for expense item price also, right? Let's include this part also, that is expense item price. Okay, and this will be in class name. Yeah, this one, right? So if I will save the code here, let's see what output I'm getting here. Okay, it is still loading or what? It is still compiling. Till that time, guys, sir, React.js file extension is yeah, like it is .jsx also, or you can use .js also. Okay, I knew the basics, so I didn't attend yesterday lecture. No, 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 it will not affect your certification, but your attendance should be more than 70 or 80%, right? And till this point, anyone has any doubt, guys? Please ask. Anyone? Any doubt till this point? Okay, no one? Oh, sorry. Please add in the chat, guys, if you have any doubt till this point. I have to use this part here, right? Let's save the code. Let's see what output I'm getting here. So you can see we are getting this output here, right? Yeah, this one. Let's see. Okay, it is compiled successfully, right? So we are getting this output, right? Yeah, this one. So I have applied some CSS in order to use the CSS. I will share the CSS part, okay? I will share the GitHub link. From there you can download the CSS code. But in order to use the CSS code, you have to import the CSS file, and after that, with the help of the class name, you can use the CSS property here, right? You can use the CSS property here. Okay. Doubt in importing CSS file directly. How to get CSS file? Like what I have done. First, I have written the CSS code here. Okay, that I am not focusing here because it will take a lot of time. So I have already created the CSS code here, and this is my expense item.css file. Here I am importing, like here I am writing the CSS code, and in order to use this code, what I have to do, I have to use import, and after that the path of the file. The path is what? It is in the same folder. It is in the same folder, so that's why I'm using dot slash. And in this folder we have what? The name of the CSS file is what? Expense item.css. So like this, I'm importing the CSS file. Can we show how to take data? Mohammed, if we have time left, I will cover that part also, right? If we don't know CSS, Bhuvchendra, that like if you don't know CSS, then we are having some CSS classes also. Like after this React Bootcamp, we are having one HTML, CSS, JavaScript HTML and CSS bootcamp. Okay, from there you can learn the basics part. Okay, but here also I'm not using anything different. Okay, I'm using some flex display property, some justify content to bring the style in between, right? And I'm applying the shadow, I'm applying the padding, okay, the margin part. So these are the basic CSS you should know, right? Yeah. So here we got the part, right? Here we got the data, and here I want the data, like I am passing this static value, right? So what I can do, in order to get the data, in order to get the date, guys, what we can do? Anyone? In order to get the date, what I can do? We can use in JavaScript we have a new date, right? And with the help of new date, what we can do, we can get the date also, right? We can get the date also. So here what I can do, new date, and here I will pass the date, right? Let's assume the date is 2022. Okay, and not like this, it is 2022, and after that you have to pass the month, and after that you have to pass this 25, right? So here I have the date, and in order to use this date, okay, if I will save this code now, let's see what output I will get. Mhm. So here, guys, see, we are not getting any output. Let's see the console. So here in the console we are getting an error. Why we are getting an error? Because this new date will return an object, okay? And what we are doing, we are directly printing the object, okay? So what I have to do, I have to change the object to a string, right? So here I have the date, and here also date, and in order to change the date to string, what I can use, I can use toIoString, right? ToIoString function, toIoString method that is present inside this object. And let's see what output now I will get. So here you can see, if you will see, this toIoString function will do what? It will change the object data to this format. I am getting the IO ISO format here, right? So here we got the date also, we got the title also, and we got the amount also, right, everyone? So the next part is what? Here, if I will go inside app.js file, here you can see I have expense item, right? I'm using this expense item component. So if I have to reuse this expense item component again and again, what I can do? Oh, and one more thing, guys. Here, since I don't have any content between this open element, open tag, and the close tag of this component, right? Since I don't have any component, any data inside it, so what I can do, I can write like this also. I can write like this also. There is no need to close the tag. Okay, here I am saying here, since there is no data, so I am writing like this. And if I will reuse this part, see, like this, right? So I am using the component expense item 3 times, right? So let's see what output I will get now. So if you will see, I am getting this card rendered 3 times, right? And here all these cards are having the same HTML code, having the same CSS code, and having the same data also, right? That is the day, the title, and the amount also is same, right, everyone? So first part is done, that is we are able to make a component, okay, we are able to reuse the component. But what about the data? Now we have to reuse the, like, we have to change the data also, right? So guys, there is a concept of props, okay, in React.js. Let me open this part. So what happens, I have a parent component here, right? I have a parent component here. This is my parent component, right? And for this parent component, I have child component, okay, like this. This is child component, this one, right? That is C1, C2, C3. And what I have done, I have some data here. I have some data here, and I have to use this data, the parent data, in child component. Okay. So what I can do, I can pass this data to the child component with the help of props. Okay. I can pass this data to a child component with the help of props, right? That is inside this C1, what I can do, I can receive the data as argument in a function. okay, as argument in a function, and when I'm passing the data from props, what I have to do, I have to pass as a attribute, right? Let's see that part. Okay, then you will get the clear understanding what I'm saying here. So what I will do now here in app.js, what I will do, I will create an array. Okay, I will create a dummy array, right? Because we are not fetching the data from the database. So what I will do, I will create a dummy array, that is expenses, and here I have a array, and in this array I have a ID, right? The ID, let's assume 1. Okay, what I'm doing, I'm creating an array of object, right? I have the ID, I have the title, right? The title is what, let's say TV here. Okay, and after that I have the amount. The amount is dollar 20.35. Okay, and I have the date also, right? I have the date also. The date is what, it is new date. And what I will do, I will pass the year here, that is 2020, and after that the month, and after that the day part, right? After that the day part. So here what I have done, I have created a array of object. Like this I will create some more data here, right? So here I have ID2, I have bike, okay, and the price is 120, let's assume, and let's change the month also, right? And similarly I can do for the next item also, right? So that is 3 here. I have car insurance, and after that $220.35, and this I have taken here, right? So this is the dummy data that I am having. Now what I will do, I have to use this dummy data, okay, in my child component. This app is what, guys, this is your parent component. Inside this app you are calling the expense item, right? You are calling the expense item 3 times. So in order to pass this data to the child component, what I can do, I can pass this data as an attribute, right? So here what I will do, I will write the name of the attribute. You can write any name here. I will write ki, hey, the date is guys, in order to pass, again, in order to use JavaScript expression inside JSX, you have to use curly bracket. Inside the curly bracket you are saying ki, hey, I have to fetch this part, right? I have to fetch this part. Can you guys write in the chat how I can fetch this part? If I have to print this value, that is TV, on the output screen, what JavaScript syntax I should use? Okay, how I should print this part? Anyone? Please write in the chat. फॉर लूप लगा के एक बार में ही जाएगा, एरे में लगा दो. कुछ लाइक I will discuss about the loop part, okay, in the upcoming session, why and what for loop like I should use and why we should use that part, right? But till that time, yeah, like I'm getting the answer. Yeah, it is correct. Yeah, correct. So here I'm getting the answer ki, hey, how I can use the date. In order to use the date, I have to use the name of the array, and after that the index part. Here, since I have to use the title of the 0 index, I will use that part. And this is what, expense 0 is an object, and in order to use the value of any object, you have to use the key, right? And here the key is what, dot date, right? Like this. Similarly, what this will do, inside date attribute, it will set the value, this one, right? That is, it will set this date here, right? And after that, what I will do, I will use item, not item, the title, right? Title here, and for title I will write expense 0, okay, and I have the title part, right? And after that I have the amount part also, right? So I will create one more attribute, that is amount. So amount is what, guys? It is expense 0 dot amount, right? So here I am passing what, I am passing the date, I am passing the title, and I am passing the amount, right? And similarly I have to do for the remaining expense item also, right? That is, here I will pass one and this is for the index 1, right? And this will be for the index 2. Okay, index 2. Okay, 2. So what we are doing, we have some data in the parent component, and in order to use this data to a child component, we are doing what? We are passing the data by writing the attribute name, and inside the curly bracket I am writing the JavaScript expression here, right? And now let's save the code. Let's see what output I am getting on the output screen right now. So if you will see, I'm not getting the, I'm not getting the changed value, right? Still I'm getting the same value. Still I'm getting the same value. That is, the amount is still same here. The title is still same here, and the date is still same here, right? So now what I have to do, in order to use this data, what I will do, I will go inside the child component, and here I have to pass props. Okay, this props is a property, and this is a variable, okay, that is holding the object. You can write any name here. The name can be anything, okay, that is ABC, anything. The name can be anything, but in React we have this tradition of writing props, so we are writing props here. Okay, and if I will console.log this prop, let's see what output I will get. Console.log, and let's print the value of the props, right? So here, let's print the value. Let's see. So now, if I will, so here you can see, guys, right? I am getting this thing, right? I am getting this thing, that is this one. I am getting an object, and this object is containing key as amount and the value, right? That is date, amount, and title, right? And this key name is same as our attribute name that we are passing in the parent component, this name, right? This is acting as a key, this attribute name is acting as a key, and inside the curly bracket, whatever data we are passing, this is acting as a value, right, everyone? So now we got to know, yes, with the help of props we can store the data that we are passing from the parent component to the child component, right? Now what I have to do, I have to use this data. Okay, so what I will do here, I will write hey props, and inside props I have a key that is date, right? I have a key that is date here. If you will see here, you can see this part, right? I have three key, that is date, amount, and title. So here I will write props dot date, and similarly for title, what I have props dot title here. Okay, and for the amount also, what I have, props dot amount, right, everyone? Simple. So let's save the code. There is no need of doing this stuff. Okay, so let's see what output now I will get. Okay, so here I am getting the amount, right? And I am getting the date also. Okay, that is different date and different amount. But what about the title? I'm not getting the title, right? Let's see what mistake we are doing in the title part. Okay, here I have written the wrong name, right? So this will be title. Okay, the key name is wrong here. Let's save the code. Let's see now. So now we are getting the date also, we are getting the title also, and we are getting the amount, right? And how we are achieving this part? We are now configuring our JSX in a dynamic form, right? In a dynamic format. Now we are not passing any hard coded value. We are passing the data from parent component to child component using props, and with the help of props I am configuring this JSX code, right, everyone? Till this point everyone is clear? Sir, can we pass the whole object like expense 0, and then yeah, you can do that part also. Suraj, you can do that part also. You can pass anything, right? So from app you can pass the whole object, and after passing this whole object you have to destructure the object here in the component, right? So you can do that part also. But till this point everyone is clear, guys? Yes or no? Okay, so after this, let's see what I have to do now. So we are able to achieve data dynamically. We are able to create this card and we are able to apply the CSS property. But here we are having the date in this format, right everyone? We are having the date in the calendar format, that is August 2020, and we are having the 14 also, right? So here, and if you will see this part, this code here, that is the app.js code or any other file code, this is what? This is our component, and in this component we are using some JavaScript, we are using HTML, and we are using CSS also, right? So component is nothing but the combination of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So this is the part, and after that, now what I have to do? I am getting the date, right? I am getting the date and I am saying, ki, hey, if I am directly printing the date, this is not possible because date is an object and I can't print that object, okay? It will not render that part, right? So that's why I have to use this dot to IO string method that is present in this object date, right? So now what I want the data in this format, right? I want the data in this format. Can you guys suggest me how I can do this part? Once again explain, sir. Karthik, what you are not able to understand? What part? We have the app.js, right? And we are in the return, what we are doing? We are passing some component. We are calling some component here, right? So this is a way to call that component, and this is a way to pass the data from parent component to child component. And in order to receive the data, what we are doing? We are receiving the data in a props, right? It is similar to the if you know this one, that is, hey, if I have a function, right? If I have a function here, and the task of this function is what? It will take two value a and b, right? And it will console dot log a and b, right? A and b here. So here I have this part, and I have one more function, that is function is what here? It is function, and let's assume print. Okay, I have a function print that is printing a comma b, and I'm printing that part, right? And I have function, what I will do, I will call this function, right? Print 2 comma 3. So here the same thing I am doing, right? It's the same thing I am doing here. So this thing is what? Our props, right? This thing is what? Our props. And when I'm passing the data from parent component, what I'm doing? I'm storing the data inside a attribute, right? And that attribute name can be anything. Name can be anything. The same thing I'm doing here also, right? Right, everyone? Destructor thoda samjha doge, sir. So basically, here what we are doing, whatever data is here, right? So if I will here, right? So we have the props, right? Props, and inside this props, whatever data you are passing from the parent component, you have the parent component, and from this parent component, whatever data you are passing here, that is the attribute name is, let's assume, title, amount. Okay, these two attributes you are passing to the child component. So this title and amount will get stored in this object variable. Okay, in this object, this title and amount will get stored, that is title and amount, right? And there will be some value here, and there will be some value here, right? And you're saying, hey, now I want to render this title, now I want to render this amount. So what I'm saying, hey, I have to destructure that part, I have to fetch the value from this object, that is called destructuring, right? Now it is clear, guys. So the next question is, I want the data in this format. Anyone? How I can get this format? How to get the day? How to get the month? And how to get the year, guys? Like I will try. Vishu, I will try my best to cover all the thing. Okay, in this 5 days. And if if I'm not able to complete that part, I will try to complete. Like I will take one more day. Okay. Styling, Vishu, like styling is not possible because either I can focus on the React concept or I can focus on the CSS. Okay, if I will focus on the CSS, then it will take the whole 1 hour, right? So that's why I'm using this part. Okay, I'm writing the pre written CSS, right? Date dot month. Okay, so guys, here what I can do, I can use, okay, so if you will search here, that is here, date dot to local string. Okay, date dot to local string here. So we have this, inside date we have this method that is to local string. And if you will see here in the documentation, let me check where. So here, okay, if you will see this part, that is date dot to local string, and we are using what, we are saying ki hey English, and this is US, right? And we are passing some options, so we will get the date in this format, right? We will get the date in this format. So here, if I don't want to include the R, right, no, this one, and so you can explore this part, right? You can explore this part. Here you can see console.log, date.to local string, and this format. And here we have the options R12 false, right? So what we are getting? We are getting this format now, and we are getting this thing, right? The time. So similarly here also, if I want the date, month, and the year, what I will do? From here, okay, I will create a three variable, that is const day, and the day will be what, we have the props, inside this props we have the date, right? And we will use the method inside this object, right? So the method is what, to local string, right? To local string, and we will pass the format, that is English US, right? And I have to pass the options. Since I want the day, right, since I want the day here, what I will do, I will say ki hey, I will use curly bracket, and here I will write day, and here I can write till 2 digit I want, right? So 2 digit, right? Let's see what output I will get. Let's console.log the output, right? Console.log day, right? Console.log day here. Let's see whether I'm getting the correct output or not. Here. So see, I am getting the output, right? I am getting some output here, that is 15, 15, 15, right? So I am getting the correct output. So here, similarly, I can do for the month also and the year also, right? So in order to get the month, I will write the name of the variable as month here, and again this one, that is the format and the options. In order to get the month, what you have to do, you have to pass the option as here you have to write month, okay, and this part is long, right, in order to get the month part, okay. And if you are getting the concept, it is good. If you are not getting this concept, you can go to this, okay, documentation, that is date.prototype. From here you can see what all you can get from this part, right, what all methods you are having inside the date object, and from there you can able to explore everything, right. So since I want the month, this one, month, day, and I also want the year, right. So in order to get the year, what I will do, I will write like this ki hey, props dot date dot get full year, right, get full year. So full year is a method that is inside this date object, and this will give me the full year thing, right. So I have the day, I have the month, and I have the year. So now I have to use these three part in this div. So what I will do, I will remove this one, and inside this I have to first write the month value, okay. So in order to use month, what I will do, in order to use any JavaScript inside the curly bracket, I will write month here, right. Similarly, I have the year, and I have the day, right, everyone. So let's save the code. Let's see what output I'm getting now. So now you can get, you can see guys, I am getting the month, I am getting the year, and I am getting the date also, right, here, right, September, December, right, yeah. So we are able to get the we are able to get the date, we are able to get the title, and we are able to get the amount. Let's see the next part. So the next part is what? We are having some CSS applied to this calendar, right? Yeah. Yeah, spacing is still left. Okay, explore that part. Okay, Vishu, like not Vishu, Sandeep, explore that this part, that is the date dot prototype. What this do here? Date dot to string. If you are using ban id, explore this part. Okay. Yeah. So after that, here, right? So we are having the expense item. Inside the expense item, we have done this part, right? And after that, guys, yeah. So here, what you can do, you can create a separate component for this date also, right? Here you can create a separate component for this date also, right? So what I will do, in order to create a separate component for this date, because here you can see we are having some logic that is for the date thing. To render the date part, we have some logic, right? If your JSX is becoming too long, that is, you are using a lot of code in the JSX, what you can do, you can divide the code. Okay, you can divide the code into component, because JavaScript is all about component, and you are doing what? You are breaking the code into smaller component, and these components are serving a specific purpose, right? So here what I will do, in order to use this part, okay, I will create a new component, that is a new file here, and that file will be what? Expense date here, right? Dot .js. So again, if I have to create a component, I know I have to use a simple JavaScript function, that is function, and the name of the component, expense date here, and here I have to return something, right? I have to return something, and in order to use this component outside of this file, I have to export this component, right? Export default. And guys, there are two type of export, that is default export and the simple export, right? I will discuss about this part in the upcoming session, right? Export default. Till that time, if you have to use this component outside of this file, you have to export like this, right? Yeah. So this one, and after that, what I have to do, here, let's copy and paste this part, right? Let's copy and paste this part, that is ctrl c, ctrl x, and here what I will do, this one, right? Let's format the document. So here, and after that, what I will do, inside the expense item, I have this part also, right? Let's take this part also, and what I will do here, I will paste this part also, right? After doing this part, what I will do, I will pass props, right? Here props is doing what? It is fetching the date part, right? So I have done this code, and let's save the code. And after saving the code, what I have to do, I have to use this expense date, right, inside this expense item. So what I will do first, I will first import the expense date component, that is expense date component, and this expense date component is present in the same folder, having the name of the file as expense date.js, right? After that, what I will do, the simple, right? If I have to use this part, I have to like write like this, right? If I have to use expense date component, it is same as writing the HTML element. Just the HTML element is having the first letter as what? Lowercase letter, and our component is having the first letter as uppercase, right? And after that, what we are doing, we are passing some props here, right? So here I will pass the date props, and here I will pass what? Props dot date, right everyone? Props dot date. And here what I have done, I have received the props, right? Inside the props I have date, and for that date I am doing this stuff. Okay, yeah. So let's save the code. Let's see whether I'm getting the correct output or not. So guys, again I am getting the same output, right? I am again getting the same output. Which should we prepare for component? Vishu, Please be like, please give me 5 minutes. After that, if I have the time, I will discuss about the arrow function. Okay, and if I don't have the time, then I will take the next session, and there first I will discuss about the difference between the normal function and this arrow function. Okay, and which we can use. Okay, so here we got this part, and now I have to apply some CSS also, right? Let's see. This CSS I have to apply, right? I have to include the date, month, and year in this box like structure, right? So what I will do, I will create a CSS file. Okay, I will create a CSS file, new file here, expense date dot CSS, right? And after doing this part, what I have to do, I have to apply some CSS right here. So let's see. Let's create a CSS file here, class name, and I have what? I have this expense thing, right? No, class name, and I have a CSS for this part also. That is, let's see what CSS I can apply. Yeah, so let's take the CSS from here itself because it will take a lot of time. So here, what I will do, I will copy and paste the same CSS, right? So here I have some CSS that I have applied here, that is for the date, for month, and for year, and for day. So guys, like CSS is simple, right? Font size will increase the size. Here we are controlling the size. Here we are controlling the weight of the font, right? Similarly, justify content is used to center the text in center, right? And I have border radius. If you will see this part here, this thing, I am setting the border radius as 12 pixel, right? So this is the border radius here, and I am applying some width and height, 5.5 rem and 5.5 rem, right? So if you will see this part here, so for this card, I am having 12 border radius, and the height and width is what? 5.5 and 5.5, right? And what I am doing with the help of justify content and align items, what I am doing, guys, I am here, right? I am making the text at center, right? I am doing the text as center here. And after that, what we have the border. What I'm doing, I'm saying, hey, the border width is 1 pixel, it should be solid, and the color of the border is white. So if you will see this part here, I have a border of 1 pixel, solid, and white color, right, everyone? And here the background is what? Black. So here I have applied the background color as black. Simple. So CSS is simple here, right? So after doing this part, I have to include the CSS in this expense date. So what I will do, first I will import the CSS file. So I have to use the keyword import here, right? Import dot slash expense date dot CSS, right? Dot CSS here. And after doing this part, what I will do, I will take the expense date from here. Okay, I have the class name expense date, and I will paste this here, right? Expense date. And I have month, expense, day, month here, right? So here I will create a class name, and I will apply the CSS property for month. Similarly, I have the class name, and I have the CSS property for this also, right? That is year. So here inside single quotes or double quotes, you can write year here, right? And similarly, you have the day also, right? You have the day also. So let's apply the CSS property for the day also, right? So here we have day. Okay, and let's save the code. Let's see whether I'm getting the correct output or not. Okay, I'm not getting the correct output. Let's see why I'm not getting the correct output here. What I have done wrong. I have this expense. Okay, date dot CSS. So basically here inside the I am using this CSS stuff. So here expense date, month, year, and day, right? Month, year, and day here. So guys, what I have done wrong here, please let me know. Like here I am writing the correct CSS, right? So dot slash it will be expense item, right? Expense date. So let's see the code. Let's see why I'm not getting the correct output. Okay, let's render this part. No, still I'm not getting the correct output, right? So I have expense item. Inside the expense item, I have expense date. So here the CSS is not applied, right? Let's see why it is not applied here. Expense date, and in order to use expense date, I'm using right in the correct way, right? So we have this part that is expense date dot CSS here. So this one, okay. Format document. Let's see. Please with props drilling. Okay. So here we have this expense date dot CSS. Okay. My mistake. I have not saved this file. Okay, let's save the code, right? I have not saved the file. That's why I'm not getting the output, right? Now I'm getting the correct output, right? I am getting the date, month, and year in a card format. So this is the CSS we have applied till here. We have learned what? We have learned today props, and I'm getting one okay doubt here, like what is prop drilling? So basically prop drilling is what? So basically let me open this part, right? Here. So I have the parent component, right? I have the parent component here, and I have some child component, right? Like this: child 1, child 2, child 3. And similarly for this one also I have some child component, that is C4, C5, and C6, right? So if we are passing props from here, and I want to use this props here, I want to use the data of parent component to this C4. What I will do, I will first pass the props to the child component, that is child 1, and from child 1 I will pass the data to child 4. So what we are doing, we are drilling the data, right? We are passing the data from one component to another component, and this props that we are passing here, we can pass props from parent component to just child component, right? You cannot pass like this. Okay, you cannot say ki, hey, I have passed the data props here and I can use the data here. This thing is not possible. Okay, you have to pass the parent, like you have to pass the data from parent to child 1, and from child 1 you can pass the data to child 4, but not directly. Okay, yeah, child to child, right? So guys, this is all for today's session, guys. Okay, and if you have any doubt, yesterday tomorrow we will start our session at 6:40. Okay, 6:45. If you have any doubt, please come at 6:45, and we will first discuss the doubt part, and after that we will move forward, right? And here if you will see the attendance part, in order to get the attendance here, guys, what you have to do, here you can see the attendance link, right? Open this attendance link, and what you have to do, correct, Vishu, that will also do the same work, right? So here, enroll me, you will get this button here, right? From this button, what you can do, you can rate the session if you are liking the session. If you are interested in a 6-month let's upgrade full stack program, click yes. If you need any further improvement, click here nothing or yes anything, and after submit your attendance here, right? And here you can see, if you are interested in a full stack data science program or your full stack web development program, you can open this link right here. So here you can see the USP of our program, right? Please, according to your speed, do it 6:30. Utpal, I will try. Okay, I will try to start our session at 6:30, right? Sir, what is state? For the state part, we will discuss in the next session, right? 6:30 to 8, or 6:30 to 7:50. Okay. After this session, I will share the CSS file. Okay. So we have this full stack web development program. Here you can see the USP of the program. That is, all the lesson will be 100% live. We are having 15 industry standard coding project, and here you can see the rating also. And if you are interested in a program, you can download the curriculum from here, and you can see what all things we are going, like we are learning in this project, and what all project we are building in this project. Okay, So this will be taken by the industry expert that is having more than 5 years of experience. That is our Sanjay sir, Mohit sir, okay, Shivam sir, and our Rohit sir, right? So if you have any, like if you are interested in the course or if you are interested in this program, you can visit our site. From there you can get the full detail of the program, and after that still you have any doubt, you can mail us on support@letsupgrade.in, right? So this is all for today's session, guys. About the assignment, you will get the assignment from the tomorrow session, okay? So this is all for today's session, guys. Hope you have liked this session. If you have any comment, please write in the chat. I will go through the comment, and after that I will see what updates and what modification I can do in the course, right? So thank you everyone for joining the session, right? Thank you.